If you'd like to make your NFL games a little more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. It is the Even Money Podcast, presented, of course, by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Those of you that check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, can see the helmets behind me, see the different teams I played for, or I guess you can just look it up. Love those of you that check us out on YouTube. Love those of you that enter to win all these free Madden codes I'm giving away. I think I have like 4 more free Madden codes to give away, and I want to give them away before the holidays. So make sure you're following at Ross Tucker NFL and at Ross Tucker Pod on Twitter, because that's where we usually post how to go ahead and get a chance to win these bad boys. I am at Ross Tucker NFL. We are at Ross Tucker Pod. He is at Fezzik Sports, the only 2-time winner of the Super Bowl of professional football betting, the Super Contest at the Westgate. And I got to address something real quick, Steve, before we dive into last week. It was not a good week, by the way. But I did have several people tweet me. I even got a couple text messages from my buddies. I know several of you noticed that I was very abrupt towards the end of the show last week. No joke, I would say 5 minutes into the show, I started to experience some symptoms, and I thought those symptoms would go away, and they kept getting worse and worse, and I was getting more and more scared. I think if you watched on YouTube, you could see that I was like sweating. So long story short, I went right to the emergency room right after the show last week. And it turns out it's acid reflux related. But man, I was scared. So I would never just be that, if somebody would call it unprofessional or whatever, that abrupt. But I was starting to get worried as the show was going. But we were already like halfway through. Steve's in Vegas. I'm here in Pennsylvania. Brian's in Louisiana. It's not easy to get all 3 of us together. So I just thought, all right, I'll get through it. But the good news is totally fine. Got checked out. It was just scary because of how it felt while I was doing the show. The other thing that's scary, Steve, our week last week. Not great, buddy. I was down 6 units. You were down 4.5. Grades graded you at 1.5 for the one teaser that you went up to minus 130 at. So for the year, I am up 21 units. You are still up 4.5 units. And let's just dive into it. I mean, Steve, you know me. It's a lot of teasers. It's a lot of underdogs. Not one of my 4 dogs covered. That feels rare, Steve.
Certainly, and there were a lot of dogs that should have gotten there last week, I think, that didn't get there with some shenanigans late. But you bet on bad teams, that can happen, Ross.
Started Thursday night. You and I both liked the Patriots getting 4.5 against the Bills. We both put 2 units on it. It was a best bet. They lost 24-10. They were pretty much non-competitive other than the Marcus Jones quick wide receiver screen for a touchdown. I was really surprised by just how poor the Patriots looked a week after offensively looking pretty good against Minnesota.
And how quickly have we gone from Belichick is the greatest of all time in terms of coaching to it was all Tom Brady. But the bottom line is, even if you're a great coach, if you don't have the players, you can't compete at the highest level, and we're seeing that with the Patriots.
Well, I think they have better players than they showed the other night. I'll say that much. The next game, as we get into the Sunday slate, this one hurt. This one hurt, Steve, because we did very well in our teaser legs. In fact, we only had one teaser loss. So you and I each had 2 teaser wins. We only had one teaser. We only had one teaser leg that lost. And it was the Baltimore Ravens from 8.5 down to 2.5. Lamar Jackson gets hurt. They only win by 1. That just sucks.
You know, what also sucks is that if you're a Denver Bronco fan, this kind of sums up the Bronco year. So last week, the Broncos, I don't think this has ever happened before. They were the lowest scoring team for the week in the NFL. So you could bet this at DraftKings, lowest scoring team that paid plus 475. Nice payout. The Broncos covered, Ross, by 7.5 points. So think about this. If given you covered by 7.5 points, how can you be the lowest scoring team of all the teams in the NFL? But that's what Broncos do. Great defense that obviously hates the offense.
Wow. That is interesting. That is wild. You don't see that very often. So anyway, that killed our teaser because we had teased the Ravens down to minus 2.5. So that killed our teaser with the Lions. That was another best bet that obviously did not come through for us, unfortunately, because I have a tough time thinking. Now, I know they weren't scoring that much with Lamar, but I have a tough time thinking that they don't win by at least 3 if Lamar Jackson stays in that game. Next game was Eagles-Titans. I really like the Titans getting the 5 points, even though I'm such a homer. You love the Eagles, dude. You're a homer. Well, I had the Titans getting 5. They got destroyed, Steve. The Eagles had 1 million penalties. This game actually could have been way, way worse. Very surprised that a Vrabel team got totally dominated in this fashion.
And what parity at the top of the league. Who's the best team? Eagles, Dallas, Buffalo, Kansas City. It's a dead heat amongst those 4 teams in my ratings right now, Ross.
Let's move on to the Jets and the Vikings. We didn't have anything in this game. Texans, Browns, we didn't have anything. Commanders, Giants. I know I had the Giants in a teaser leg. We both did. We both had the Giants up to 8.5 and the Raiders up to 8 on a 2-unit, 2-team teaser that came through for us as they tied. Gross. Jags, Lions. We already talked about the Lions were a teaser leg for us. Up to 7.5. We had the Lions and they won by 26. Packers, Bears. Neither one of us had anything. Steelers, Falcons. You had the Falcons in a teaser leg with the Seahawks. Seahawks down to minus 1.5. Falcons up to 7.5. You're very fortunate, Steve, that Minkah Fitzpatrick didn't take that interception in for a touchdown, that he knew to just go down rather than take it in for a touchdown.
No doubt about that, but nothing feels better about playing a teaser and neither of your teams cover, but they both get there with the extra 6 points. That's why we tease teams. Yes.
Love it. Dolphins, Niners. I really like the Dolphins getting the 4 points, put 2 units on it, and Jimmy G got hurt on the first drive. And they still lost, Steve, 26-17. Actually, I don't think that's the right score. I think it was like 33-17. That they lost.
Yeah, a meaningless defensive score in the final 2 minutes, pushes the game over. So maybe somewhat meaningful. Nice effort by that 49ers defense. And they looks like any capable quarterback can captain that 49er offense right now, right?
Not exactly a masterpiece by Tua Tagovailoa. He's out for MVP. You know what is a masterpiece? Fine art. From legends like Picasso and Banksy. Steve has Banksy all over his house, I'm pretty sure. You can actually invest in this thing. You can invest in unbelievable artwork. Talk about diversifying your portfolio. As recently as November, Masterworks produced results selling a painting for a 17.8% net return, net to their investors. That's a new sale, even since I've been talking about them on my different shows over the last month. That's 7 exits over 17% net returns. Compare that to the stock market or the bonds these days. To skip the wait list, you can sign up with our special code MONEY at masterworks.com. That's masterworks.com, promo code MONEY to skip the wait list. See important Regulation A disclosures at masterworks.com/CD. Seahawks, Rams. We both had the Seahawks in a teaser. Mine was with the Bengals. Yours was with the Falcons. And man, oh man, did Geno Smith get it done for us on that last drive. Needed that. Otherwise, it would have been real bad. Chiefs, Bengals. I had the Bengals in a teaser up to +8. They went outright, Steve, and beat the Chiefs again.
How good are these +2 to +8 teasers when the game is like evenly played? Bengals, Kansas City, Giants, Washington. If you bet +2, you're sweating the whole game in both those games. If you got the teaser +8, you're fat and you're just waiting to cash.
Chargers, Raiders. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. You went with the over in Bengals, Chiefs. Oh, my goodness. It was 52.5, Steve. 27-24. You lost 2 units, including when the Bengals ran that ridiculously stupid play at the end of the first half and Dunlap made the tackle. Or how about Tyler Boyd dropping a touchdown, which cost you 4 more points? Oh, Steve, that
How about Tucker's final field goal to tie the game at 27-all? You know, you're a snapper, Ross. Have you ever snapped in the NFL?
Short snapped, yes, in practice, never in a game.
You got one job. You snap the ball and you have enough rotation so when the holder catches it, he puts it down, the laces are in the right place, and it makes it easy on him. From what I saw, snap wasn't good. The hold wasn't perfect. And Butker, since it's a 50-plus field goal, just enough to throw him off.
Oh, man, you had 3 chances to hit that over. That's rough. Chargers, Raiders, we didn't have anything. Colts, Cowboys. Wow. I had the Colts getting 10.5. Feel pretty good about it. 21-19, fourth quarter. I'm like, okay, 21-19. They're down by 2. Even if the Cowboys score a touchdown, they're not going to go for 2. They're going to just kick the extra point to go up 2 scores to be up 9. They lost 54-19. 54-19 with 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter. That sucked. And then the Bucs laying 3.5 against the Saints last night. You put 2 units on the Bucs, Steve, laying 3.5. That's not like you to lay 3.5. Bucs were very, very fortunate to come back and win that game. The Saints dominated them.
Yeah, terrible pick. And, you know, this line had been 6 and it had come down to 3.5. And in retrospect, they play that game again. I think the line in this game would be less than 3. So just the wrong side.
Yep, wrong side for me for sure. Patriots, Titans, Dolphins, Colts. None of them ended up even being particularly close. For the week, I was down 6. You were down 4.5. 1 win on the best bet, 2 losses on best bets. For the year, I'm still up 21 units. You're still up 4.5 units. And we are 18 wins, 14 losses on the season. Onward and upward, Steve, to, what is it, week 14 in the NFL? Is it week 14?
It is. And
that's amazing.
The whole
speaking of amazing, go ahead.
18 weeks is 1 week too long. It's 1 week too long. It messes up everything. We should be done on New Year's, not like going into January. Don't like it.
I like Labatt Blue Light. So tasty. There's no better way to watch your team on game day than with the pristine Canadian goodness of a cold Labatt Blue Light in your hand. Absolutely love when listeners email me, ross@rosstucker.com, or tweet me at RossTuckerNFL with pictures of them drinking the Labatt Blue, although nothing was as good as all the Bills fans during that snowstorm measuring the snow in Labatt Blue Light cans. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer. Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. We start with Thursday night, Steve. Rams hosting the Raiders. Total is 44. The Raiders are laying 6 on the road.
Yeah, I'm not so sure the Raiders are on the road in this game. Whole lot of Raiders fans in Southern California, and I'm not sure fair weather fans of the Rams will show up. Raiders are playing very well. I didn't give the Rams anything for home field. I made it 6. I pass.
It's a pass for me. I mean, I guess I would lean laying the points with the Raiders, but I'm the Raiders. I'm not laying 6 points with the Raiders. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Eagles are at the Giants. The Giants are getting 7 at home. Totals 45.5.
Fly, Eagles, fly. They are playing very well again. I'm going to tease the Eagles from -7 down to -1. I need a teaser partner. I'll go Monday Night Football. I'll tease Arizona up from +2 to +8. 2-unit, 2-team NFL teaser.
Ooh, interesting. You usually don't do it unless you're going through the key number of 7. We're already at 7 there.
I think it's going to close 7.5. And so I'm anticipating Eagle money. And so I'm going to get in front of it right now and just go ahead and play it.
I got nothing on this game. That seems like the right number to me. Giants seemingly play a bunch of lower scoring, close to the vest games. Eagles played so well against Tennessee. I don't know if they can do that again. I like your teaser, but I'm out on that game. Jets, Bills. Jets are getting 9 on the road. Totals 43.5.
So I will be teasing the Bills later in the week. I think this number's a little bit too high right now. So, and I don't want to have to play a 6.5 point teaser to get to -2.5. So it's weighted out. If this line went up to 10, I can tell you I would bet the Jets big time. But I think it's going to drop. And when it drops below 9, I will get involved later in the week with Bills teasers, but I pass right now.
I like the Jets. I thought they were the better team against the Vikings. In fact, I know they were the better team against the Vikings in every measure except for points on the scoreboard. They're getting 9. The Bills haven't been playing that great. That performance against the Patriots was their best in a while. I think this is a close game, really close game. Give me the Jets getting the 9 points in Buffalo, 2 units. Then we get to the Vikings and the Lions. The Vikings are getting 2.5. The Lions are 2.5 point favorites, Steve.
So I have a problem with this game, a marketing problem. Let me tell you what it is. So I only sell my picks at pregame.com, and I gave out my NFL false favorite game of the month. Love this game. Well, you don't need to buy it anymore. You know why? Because it's not a false favorite anymore. So I bet Detroit +2. I teased the hell out of Detroit +2. I love Detroit. I gave it to my clients at +1.5, and now they're laying 2.5. And in good conscience, I cannot recommend laying 2.5 on a game I was getting 1.5. To put that in a money line perspective, it's like moving from +115 to -120. It's like a 35-cent line move, but it makes sense. The Vikings stink. They're 10-2. I know Eagles fans have been mad at me because I haven't been making the Eagles my number 1 team. Well, the Viking fans are going to get more mad at me. Your team stinks. You are just the luckiest team in the history of the NFL. You did not outplay an average New England team. You got there. You won by 7. And last week, that was a ridiculous win. You got massively outplayed by a Jets team. That's a pretty average team themselves. You got outplayed by the Lions, who got double-digit leads twice in your home crib. You're going to get crushed in this game. Lions are going to win this game by 10. Do not tease the Vikings in this game. 10-2 this year. Well, next year, 7-10. Enjoy it until the first round playoff exit. You Minnesota fraudulent team, you.
Oh, Steve. Well, that stinks that you just said all that because I'm teasing the Vikings up to 8.5. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of points for the Lions. The Lions up to 8.5. I get 8.5 points with the Vikings against. This is a field goal game. Either way, this is a close game. The Vikings have actually won all their close games. I like the Vikings up to 8.5. Teaser leg. I'm pairing them with the Cardinals. I'm going against Uncle Steve's advice. Minnesota plus 8.5. Arizona plus 7.5. And that's a 2-unit, 2-team teaser. I'm actually tempted to lay the 2.5 with Detroit too, but I'm not doing it for everything you just said. Let's get to the Browns. They are getting 6 points against the Bengals. Totals 47.5.
So if you missed it, the Browns had an extremely fraudulent win themselves last week. 3 touchdowns by special teams and defensive scores. They were no good. Watson, no good at quarterback. If you recall, this was the Halloween massacre where Cleveland, all those ugly orange helmets, and it was the Cleveland helmets that were going in the end zone on Halloween. Cleveland, really nice win against Cincy. Well, Cincy is back, baby. Cincy's O-line is playing much better. They have all their weapons. I like the Bengals to roll here against Cleveland, 2 units Cincinnati.
Wow. I would just lean Cincinnati here. I have a feeling Watson's going to play much better than he did last week. That was his first game in 700 days or something wild. I feel like he'll play much better. Got some of the cobwebs out. Honestly, he can't play much worse. So that's my read on the game. What about the Texans getting 16.5 against the Cowboys? Totals 44.5.
The material in the textbook was complicated. I didn't have time to thoroughly review it, and I'm not in a position to be able to do the equations on this one. I pass.
I'm taking the Texans. That's a lot of points, man. I mean, I know the Cowboys ended up blowing out the Colts, but that was a bunch of turnovers and stuff. Cowboys are playing very well. But are the Cowboys going to get that many breaks again? And are the Texans going to have that many breaks go against them with the punt return touchdown, the fumble return touchdown, the interception return touchdown? I say no. I don't have a lot of conviction about this one, though. I'm just going 1 unit. 1 unit on the Houston Texans getting the 16.5. How about the Jags? They're up to +4 against the Titans. Totals 41.5, Steve.
When I looked at my power ratings, I was really surprised. I only have these teams 1 point apart. It's not like Tennessee has a big home field advantage. It feels like the Titans win by 3. That means we're going to invest in Jacksonville plus the 4, 2 units.
Totally agree. Maybe my favorite bet of the week. I don't know what got into Jacksonville and Detroit. Maybe they were so happy about that Ravens win. I don't know what happened there. But I do know that I think this will be a close game. Titans aren't really capable of blowing anybody out. They just don't have good enough players to blow anybody out. It's not how Vrabel plays the game. Jags +4, 2 units. We got a best bet.
The best bet.
Ravens, with Lamar Jackson likely out, getting 3 points on the road in Pittsburgh. Total is just 37, Steve.
Yeah, I don't think I remember these two teams ever playing a game where anybody won by more than 3. It's always close. It's always a defensive battle. The Steelers are playing much better. But you know what? If it's going to be a 3-point game and I'm getting 3, I push or I win. Ravens 2 units.
I kind of like that. I mean, I wish real bad that it was 3.5, but you're right. That's probably just the difference in the push or not. I think Huntley getting all the reps this week will come out and play well. I think he'll play really well. Baltimore +3, 2 units, back-to-back best bets.
The best bet.
Speaking of best bets, Steve, you need to forget about high prices and endless contracts when it comes to television. Sling is your best bet when it comes to finding your favorite channels with the best deal for sports, news, entertainment. They have the best live TV content all in one place at the lowest price. In fact, I know a lot of you, if you're betting, you have Red Zone. Well, you can watch every touchdown live every Sunday afternoon with NFL Red Zone on Sling. For a limited time, get Sling Blue and add on Sports Extra with NFL Red Zone for half off your first month. So regular, it's $46. Now it's only $23. So get the best deal on Red Zone so you can catch all the touchdowns at the lowest price with Sling TV. Visit sling.com/DraftKings to sign up today. What about the Chiefs laying 9 on the road against those offensively challenged Broncos, Steve? The total,
yeah, but
43.
Defensively, they play out of this world. If you're going to invest in this, I would say it's correlated. If you bet Denver, I would parlay them to the under. You know what? I'll make that a 2-team parlay, pays 13-5, 1 unit, Denver +9 with the under 43.
Ooh, interesting. Can't do anything here. I honestly, part of the reason why I don't want to watch the Broncos play football. Like, I don't want to watch that game. I mean, it's that bad. If anything, I would lean to lay the 9 with the Chiefs. At some point, the Broncos defense has to quit, right? I mean, at some point. How about the Panthers getting 4.5 in Seattle, total of 43.5, Steve?
Not a game I really had anything on. I do think that Carolina releasing Baker Mayfield, I think that's a positive. Baker just doesn't seem to inspire people. So that might be a plus because of that. But I got nothing on the game.
I could only lean Carolina, getting the 4.5. They've been playing better under Steve Wilkes. I mean, I feel like they've won a couple of their last however many games. The Bucs are in San Francisco against Brock Purdy. The total's 37. The Niners are laying 4. The Bucs look terrible, Steve, till the last 2 drives last night. The Niners quarterback is Brock Purdy, who actually looked pretty good. He actually looked pretty good against the Dolphins. What do you got?
So after the game was over, I'm on a different show. They asked me what the line for this game would be, and I said I make it 4 and 37. That being the case, I don't think I can find any advantage play. I do say, you mentioned the red zone before, Ross. I love the red zone. I love, what's it, Andrew Siciliano hosts that? He's the best.
He does the DirecTV version. Scott Hansen does the cable version.
Yeah, so I don't know about Scott, but I know Andrew is absolutely the best, as opposed to, I'm going to get everyone mad at me. The former NFL referees that they have on, including Mike Pereira, they're the worst. How many times so Mike, what do you think? And instead of it, is the call going to be overturned? Well, let me talk about what the currency market is in Europe and the exchange rate. And he talks about nothing for 40 seconds. He doesn't answer the question. Someone tell Mr. Pereira, answer the question. Yes, I think the call will be overturned. And then he can talk about all this other stuff. He never gets through by the time they come back with the actual call. Thank you.
I think I would lean to the Bucs here against Purdy getting more than a field goal, but I don't know, man. That's a tough one. What about the Dolphins laying 3.5, Steve, on the road against the Chargers? Total's 52.
It's a very interesting game. I was all ready to just unload on the Chargers plus the 3.5. I'm like, what a great spot. Dolphins played horrible against the backup quarterback. Dolphins with all that travel. Tua didn't look good. Maybe the Chargers get some of their linemen back. But then I don't like going against the team that has the Kumbaya week. They're going to stay. The Miami's going to stay out on the West Coast for a week. And I think that's a big advantage, especially off a horrible performance in San Francisco. And the Chargers don't have any home field advantage. They won't have the late game advantage that the West Coast typically has because Miami will be acclimated to West Coast time. Because of all that, I'll still lean Chargers, but just a lean 3.5.
My issue with this game is just the unknown about some of the offensive line injuries in this game. But I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. I'm gonna show some faith in the Chargers. Probably won't be rewarded. Chargers plus 3.5, only 1 unit, but I really like getting 3.5. Total's 52 for that game. Patriots Cardinals Monday night. Patriots are laying 1.5. You and I both teased the Cardinals up to 7.5. Total's 44. Anything else, Steve?
Just I might play a lot of different legs with Arizona across the board. And one thing I love about the Monday night being able to tease everything is if you're having a good teaser week, let's say you pair them in with 3 other teasers and you go crazy, and those other teasers win, you're in such a good position because you come into Monday Night Football with essentially Arizona plus 7.5 or plus 8. And now if you want to shoot for a partial middle, then you can play a little bit of New England, which I think this line's going to leak down somewhat. You get like New England minus $1.20. You got this enormous middle that you can shoot for. And frankly, I do think that this spread is going to drop slightly. I would get your teasers in earlier rather than later on Arizona.
That is at Fezzik Sports and only at Fezzik Sports. Do not fall for the imposter. At Fezzik Sports. At Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. Make sure you're following that and at Ross Tucker Pod so you can get a free Madden code over the next couple weeks. That'd be nice for the holidays. Other than that, good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for listening to the Even Money Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, the Fantasy Feast, Business of Sports, and the College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.